welcome back to my channel. Today I have my special guest, Javan.
Hey, how y'all doing?
My wonderful boyfriend. He is back, and once again, if you have not already done so, make sure you check out his channel.
WWD Music, Worldwide Dominion Productions.
Yes, I'll be sure to insert a card. But today we want to talk about LDRs. We want to talk about long distance relationships. For those of you that don't know, Javan and I are in a long distance relationship, so we figured that we would talk about what that looks like, particularly a long distance courtship. So, this video really is going to be like our perspective. I thought about as important is the person that you do end up with. If you're deciding to do long distance relationship, you do need to be prayerful. You don't want to just jump into anything, because it is one of those things where two people have to be committed to it, and you have to be intentional. If you're with someone who's like kind of half-hearted, then it's not going to work. And I think that's something that we talked about too. Like, if you have somebody who's like half in, half out, or they're not sure, it's not going to work. Like, you have to have two people who are actually willing to put in 100%, because it does require effort. So let's talk about some like tips. What do you think are some things that are very helpful for us?
Communication. Yeah. Communicating on a regular basis, and there's various ways to do that. I mean, the old school phone is always there as far as phone calls. But then there's other things technology-wise. There's different apps where you can do video types of things. So you can send video messages and things like that. That's something that we do, and that helps throughout the course of your day.
Yeah, that's really good. Definitely phone calls. Like, text messages are good, but you don't want to rely solely on text messages. Because miscommunication can come from text messages. And it's less intimate. So I would say that's definitely a good one. Communicating, which makes me think about being open. You have to be with somebody who's willing to be open and willing to be vulnerable, because you have to have two people who are willing to express themselves and to talk and to actually communicate, because if one person is clammed up, then you really can't grow that.
That's a good point. I think in something she mentioned, even as far as like with like the openness, another thing I see, just even on the flip side of things, is guys, if you're pursuing a woman, making sure that she has dealt with past issues as far as like just from her past relationships, things like that. Because if a woman is not ready to be loved, so to speak, it can be, you can be coming with all different types of good things, or you can be a gentleman, and you can really be pursuing her the right way. But if she's not ready, it can lead to frustration, And so I think also you want to make sure that you're seeking God, even about the person, always seeking God about everything you do, but seeking God about that woman to make sure that, that she is ready, and make sure you have a conversation. I mean, one thing with us is we talk a lot, and we ask each other various questions, and we really know each other very well. And I think that when you do that, you can really learn a lot about a person's thought process, the way they approach life.
Which makes me think about being intentional. Even in conversations, you want to be intentional. The types of things that you're talking about, there should be an end goal. So I would definitely say be intentional, have an end goal of where you're trying to go, and then also in your conversation, being intentional. Really specifically focus on getting to know that person and asking intentional questions that will help you learn more about them.
Absolutely. Very well said. I think that's the thing, as far as like, especially because like, we talked about courtship before, and courtship is, you are pursuing this person, you're pursuing marriage together. So I mean, you are being intentional about, your desire to marry each other. And I think during that time, you want to talk about different things. You want to make sure that you guys are on the same page with things. And I think, with us, we have a lot of conversation, and we talk about those types of things.
One of the questions that I got a lot was, well, how do you know? Like, how do you know that this person, since they're so far away, how do you know this person is genuine? And a lot of people deal with disingenuous people. So how would you say you can determine whether or not it's a good person?
Right. Well, I think you have a lot of conversation with the person. Like I mentioned earlier, I mean, prayer, spending time with God. I mean, because I look at the way me and her connected, it's just like, I feel like it was so God ordained, and so just the way things was coming together, it was just one of those things where I felt like, okay, I felt like things was going the right way, and then from there you just get the confirmation. So I asked her certain questions, she asked me certain questions. We met in person, we continued to talk and get to know each other more. And I think that when you're talking and you ask a person certain questions and you really see where their head is at, and you pray, I think you will get answers. And then once you actually meet the person in person and you talk to them, you're going to see it. And the fruit in her life is very evident. You know, I think it ultimately comes down to a fruit issue, and just being around her and seeing how she conducts herself. It's so great. You know, I mean, she's a mighty woman of God, and I think that ultimately is when, as you continue to grow with the person, you'll see that.
Yes, so definitely that you want to make sure that you're prayerful. As believers, I think it makes it a lot more easier to be able to discern the person. Like for him, I was able to tell that, you know, he had a good heart. And one of the things for me that I've noticed just over the years is that oftentimes we know, like just deep down inside, you know whether or not a person is a good person or not. So paying attention to, you know, your gut feeling, as they call it, being led by Holy Spirit, and like you said, paying attention to the fruit. For us, we have a lot of interaction with like family and friends, so we can see each other in those different types of settings, as opposed to always being secluded and always just going out to the movies. And all those things are great, but you want to have a variety of different settings where you can actually see if this person is who they say they are.
Exactly. And I think that I think the big thing during like your relationships, during your relationship, I should say, is you're growing, is to make sure that you are listening to what God is telling you through the Word. And because people may try to tell you other stuff, you know, they may try to say, well, this is how we do it. And the world does things a lot different than God does, you know, in a lot of different areas. And so also even just the types of things people may tell you, even people may mean well, but you got to really decipher, like, okay, like with her, you know, I know what type of person she is. And so if people try to say, well, you know, she on the internet, you met her off the internet, this and that. If I would have just went, you know, off of that, like not saying that anybody specifically said that, but I'm just saying you may encounter people who say, well, you met her offline. Wait a minute, you know, that may seem weird, but it's like I would have missed out on a great individual if I would have been like, well, you know, I did meet her offline. You know, I mean, it's like I look at it now, it's like, man, it's like we get along so well. You know, we have similar visions, just similar outlooks on life. We both love Jesus. And we both love Jesus, and that's so crucial. I mean, a lot of people can talk that and say that, but when you really get down to, once again, the fruit, but you know, that's so important. So, absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
Great.
So another tip I would say is having like set times where you see each other helps a lot. So being able to say, okay, we're going to meet up, you know, in a month or in 2 months or whatever the case is. We do countdowns, which helps so much, just being able to count down days until we see one another, as opposed to, oh, well, you know, I'll let you know when I can come, and then it just makes it a lot more difficult. So having like something to look forward to kind of helps continue to build that excitement, and then as like the time goes shorter, the excitement continues to grow, and that can be fun.
So it ultimately, I'm talking to the believers, when you're doing things God's way, if God is truly ordained something, you can take confidence in the fact that, okay, God is going to get me through this. And so it's just important to trust Him and do it His way, you know, and He'll get you through it.
Absolutely. So that's it for today. But thank you all so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.
Hey everyone. What was that? I don't think I said everyone.